Beyond Meat is on Fast Company's list of the world's 50 most innovative companies for 2014. Ethan Brown, congratulations on that.
Thank you very much.
I had a little moment of panic in the green room because I thought, what if it's not good? How do you hold your face on straight and be polite? You don't want to insult the guests, but that chicken was really, really tasty. But for those of us who really like meat, you're not asking us to give it up.
That's correct. What we're doing is asking that people separate animal protein and meat. So we can recreate meat with plant-based inputs entirely. So the texture and the taste is exactly the same. So at the end of the day, if you're having beef and chicken and it comes directly from plants with no cholesterol, no saturated fat, or no trans fat, it's better for you and it's better for the environment.
Yeah, but you're somebody who had a relationship with a farm. Your dad had a hobby farm.
Yes.
And so I was very surprised to read that, thinking you grew up you had access to a farm. How you ended up here?
Right. So I grew up in the city, but we spent an enormous amount of time at our farm. My dad had dairy cattle there. But I early on was never able to get past the question of the cows and, for example, my dog being very similar. I was never able to say, okay, one should be treated one way and the other another way, just because one's in the home and one's in the barn. And that stuck with me as an adult. I went into alternative energy, but ultimately came back to that question because I started to see the human health, the climate change, natural resource use issues, as well as animal welfare. So it motivated me to get back into the space and do what we're doing.
So you're a vegan, so that motivates you as well as a businessman, but which is great if you're a vegetarian. So why do you want to eat meat then? I mean, you're creating something that tastes like meat. Why not just eat meat?
That's a great question, and it's one that fascinates me. We've been having meat as humans for about 2.3 million years. So there's a great familiarity with it, the way it crosses across the teeth, the way it bites, etc. And we don't want to walk away from that. You know, fried chicken tastes great, steak tastes great. Let's just take the amino acids, the fats from another source and recreate those so that we're taking the animal entirely out of the equation. I often think about what happened with the automotive sector, where we had horse-drawn carriages. The internal combustion engine came along and basically obviated the need for the horse in that equation. We're trying to do the same with animal protein.
What was the breakthrough that enabled you to do this?
It's absolutely all around the fiber. That, for us, is the holy grail. It's obsession. We have projects today called Chicken 2.0 and Beef 2.0, where we're focusing on narrowing the gap, on collapsing the gap between our product and between animal protein around texture.
And
how did you get the funding?
That's
for this?
just what I was going to say.
Sure.
You got Bill Gates involved. You were nervous, you said to me.
Oh, absolutely nervous when I met with him, and I've had an opportunity now to sit down twice with him, and he was just an absolute terrific guy and super nice. I initially received funding from Kleiner Perkins, and they really went out and stuck their neck out. This is not a usual investment for them, but Mulder Sponde and Ray Lane there made the initial investment. Connected with Bill Gates and then with Biz and Ev from Twitter, and they have been enormously supportive. We have Seth Goldman on our board, Morgan Creek Capital, so we have some pretty strong people behind the company.
But are you saying don't eat meat?
No, what I'm saying is let's not eat animal protein.
Okay, great. I just want to make sure I understood that. And so who is your target audience?
So there are about 70 million Americans in the U.S. that are reducing their meat consumption. And here's an important statistic. So people have a sort of hopelessness about climate change. They say, oh, I don't know what to do. But in fact, 51% of greenhouse gas emissions can be attributed to livestock. If we were to reduce meat consumption globally by 25%, we could address a huge amount of the climate change problem.
And that's your goal, 25% by 2020.
That is absolutely.
Let them taste it.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let them taste it. It's good.
Yeah.
Ethan Brown, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys, very much.